All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynast Amir, Search for Huru. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, a couple of announcements. Tours. We have the tour coming up in August to Nigeria for the Oshun Festival. So if you're interested, hit me up. Also, too, you guys you muted yourself. Okay, and then also to another tour coming up in December 4th through 12th. That's in Sierra Leone. That's the Dynast Amir in Blacksit collab. So if you guys are interested, go to dynastamir.com, send me an email, message me, and I will get back to you. So today's topic, we're going to be discussing why Black men should get married. And I'm looking at the comments in the chat room, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it and address some of these comments. So I have the Amaris with us, and and we have the beautiful married couple.
That's right.
Smiling and profiling.
Happily married.
I mean, just not on social media, in real life.
In real life. In real life. So, I just wanted to have this discussion with a brother and his wife who they are happy. They work together. They were a team. Right. So, brother, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome, bro. We appreciate you, man. Yeah, it's always a pleasure serving with you, brother. And we appreciate your Prince.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and address some of these comments in the chat room. So,
okay.
Black men have to worry about alimony if they get married, and most of them take through divorce. Now they're left with little to nothing, while the wife holds all or most of his wealth. What are your thoughts? Because again, whenever we bring up marriage, is always the negative stereotypes of getting married, why you shouldn't get married, and this is one of the many comments that are made for people who are against getting married.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that comment?
Well, I believe that Amari can answer this really well. He knows his situation, he knows his life, and he knows the reason that he got married. I'm not his first wife, and I'm not going to get into numbers, but he's very familiar with that situation, and I know he can elaborate and tell you about alimony.
Well, yeah, I personally, I've been through that myself. However, I won't allow fear to restrict me. Mentally, I myself personally, I'm a practitioner of our spirituality as well, specifically Ifa, and I make sure I do mental exercises. And it's important to do that and strengthen your mind. I don't believe in categorizing all women in the same category, because personally, for myself, that's not my reality, that something negative is going to happen. I knew that it was just the person that I was married to. That's what the problem was at that time. Marriage is an institution. You know what I'm saying? What makes a good marriage, you are married to. And if that person that has a mature mentality, then you're going to be in a beautiful marriage. In fact, my wife is the most beautiful woman I've ever been with in my life. And like she said, I don't mind sharing this, man. She's my fourth. You know what I'm saying? She's my fourth wife. I don't mind rolling the dice of love. I'm not afraid to do that. I don't hold on to what my past experiences are. Oh, all women is like this, No, I've had some negative experience with female family members, as well as women who I was in relationship with. You know what I'm saying? It's mine. It's all about your mind, man. And you can't be afraid.
Yeah. And also, with me knowing that I am his fourth wife, I'm not afraid to, again, roll the dice on love. He's not my first husband.
There it is.
But, that's just a part of life. As you go on, you grow up, you learn different things from different situations and different marriages, and you just take a chance.
Let me ask Amari, not to get into your personal business, Amari.
No, go ahead. What you got?
You've been married 4 times. The previous 3 marriages, what went wrong, if you don't mind sharing?
first and foremost, it was myself. You know,
Okay.
and the reason why I say that, I like to expound. The reason why I say that is because, unfortunately, religiosity had a hold of my mind. Okay, I'm a former bishop. I was raised, you know, as a Christian, and according to the book, you know, don't get a divorce unless it's for fornication, as it would say, or adultery. Okay, but in my situation, uh, I got married only for religious reasons at that time. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I should have listened to my intuition, because my intuition kept telling me don't do it. I didn't really see a bright future with them, but unfortunately, I was brainwashed, man. And what it did was it dumbed me down. It messed with my common sense. It interfered with me using logic. You know what I'm saying? And I did it anyhow because the Bible said it's better to marry than to burn, you know, and thou shalt not fornicate. And so I just had to be honest about that, man. You know, it was out of religious reasons more so than it really was anything else. And I just had to be honest. That's what the problem was, man. You know what I'm saying? It was based on that premise.
I would like to. I know you asked him a question. You probably got a second question
Yeah, he
for him.
did. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Plus, I was moving too
See what I'm
fast.
saying? Don't stop.
I was moving too fast, Prince. I moved too fast. I didn't take my time, brother. Okay, now I'm good. I'm ready.
Now, there was another comment in the chat room basically saying if you get legally, now, not to get into your personal business, but
No, it's okay, man. But that's what we're here for. I don't mind at all, man. I'm all about being transparent. What you got?
are you guys legally married?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, there's a comment in the chat room saying in the year 2020, you are a fool if you get legally married in America. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Me or the queen?
Don't ask me.
Both. Both.
Okay, for myself, you know, that's just a matter of opinion. You know, first of all, when you're dealing with legalities, when it comes to nature, should you transition, it will behoove you to have that in place. I mean, look at what happened to our ancestor Prince, and if I'm not mistaken, James Brown and so many others. You know,
Right.
so when you're dealing with the legality piece, it is imperative that you do that. Okay, you know, and that's one of the reasons why you want to ensure that you're legally married. See, now for myself, I'm a veteran, so she could not have received any type of benefits legally, okay, because if she was not my wife, she wouldn't be able to have those type of benefits. So when I was in the military, you had to submit a marriage license. So it's easy for some people to say that that's not in certain situations. You know, and there's other legal ways around the documentation where you can, of course, have somebody on paper and they're not legally your wife. But because of me being in the situation I'm in, that wouldn't have worked well for my wife and I at all.
Yeah. And for myself, I can just say that I'm just going to put this out there. When we first got together, and we did get married rather quickly. We when we first got together, I didn't care to be legally married. You know, it was just you know, it wasn't a priority. I didn't care to
The
wear a
prince
ring.
is stunned. We stunned the prince.
Yeah, you need the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the ring. Well, I don't know if you can see it. I got the ring now, but I didn't care to wear a ring. I didn't care to be legally married or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But as he stated, you know, being that we were going to be together, and because of the benefits of him being a veteran, it would have, you know, behooved me. It benefited me to be married. And plus, you know, I loved him, and I didn't plan on going anywhere, even if I wasn't legally married. So yeah, this is a twist, right?
Yeah. Okay. Guys, make sure you hit that like button as you come into the chat room. Again, hit that like button and subscribe as you come to the chat room. I want to address some more of these comments. Another comment was, why do people always hold on? have a negative mindset when it comes to marriage, Amari?
Well, it's because of people's experiences with those who have been in situations like myself, and also their own personal experiences. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna be frank with you, man. Some people gave up, you know, on marriage because of what they went through. You know, and then some people, they know people like myself and like my queen who have been married multiple times, and unfortunately, they make that their life story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They get seized up with fear rather than judging him or her according to their character, as the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, peace and blessings be upon him. You know, some people, that's what they do, man. They allow somebody else's situation to become, you know, their situation. And that's the worst thing you can ever do, because like myself, man, I'm glad I didn't. Look at me now. I'm married to a beautiful queen. She and I have built an empire together. We're serial entrepreneurs. We're happily married. We have a blended family that goes very well. You know what I'm saying? You know, we had our hills and what have you, but you know, we went over those mountains, and here we are today, man, at the top of success, you know, at the top of our game.
I also want to add to, sometimes people come in, you know, with unrealistic expectations. You know, I know that he's not God. You know what I mean? And I know that
In the sky.
yeah, in the sky. I know that there's some things that, you know, I need to get out of my own self. And there's too much weight to be putting on him to try to please me in a way that I need to be doing for myself.
That's right, Shabelle.
So I'll let him go and let you know I'll go on for a while.
It's okay. Go ahead. Let it loose. Let it rip, baby. Tell him.
I'll wait on Dynast.
Oh, what are your thoughts on prenups?
Well, we don't have one. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why she and I, we don't have one is because of our maturity level. You know what I'm saying? We know that we can trust each other, man. Again, intuition is not spookism. You know what I'm saying? It's something that, you know, you simply use logic about when it comes to that as well. You know, you use the person's character again as a foundation about whether or not you need to do that. You know what I'm saying? So for she and I was if there is no such thing as it's mine, you know what I'm saying? It's ours. That's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? It's ours.
Well, here's my thoughts. As you can see, we're married, but we differ in thoughts. You know,
Right.
I don't see that there's an issue with having a prenup. You know, I was in a situation once before where, you know, I was with someone and they were trying to force me to do some things legally that I guess so they can just take what I had and hit the road. You know what I mean? But I don't have a problem with prenups, long as it's agreed upon between the two parties or what have you. Some people may do like a prenup, say, hey, if we're still married after 10 years, or if we're still married after 5 years, you know, you can get whatever. But some people, they're trying to marry you for 6 months and then they go to the court and they won't have. This may be. Now, it's according to some states, they do have some laws where, you know, some stuff is I don't know what they call it, but it's pre-marriage or what have you, and then they can't cut into that. I don't know if the laws are still like that, but I don't have a problem with a prenup. I think it's a good idea, to be honest.
In the chat room, Mufasa, shout out to Mufasa. He brings up setting up a will, and I guess that what he's referring to is, I guess, with the legalities of marriage, it makes it easier for the transfer of wealth if something happened to you.
Yes.
He said all you have to do is set up a will and avoid getting married.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because the will, of course, is a legalized documentation, whereas it doesn't have to be somebody that's legally your wife. You know what I'm saying? You can put down anybody that you want to in that will. You know, and of course, every state is different. So please seek out your lawyer on what I'm saying. It's just from my experience, from my knowledge. Okay, you know, it's whoever you put in there that you want to allocate certain assets to. When it comes to that piece right there, as far as in the will.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would want to know if you're with a woman and you love her, and you love her enough to put her in your will, you know, and you're acting married. Why wouldn't you want to be married? Is it because of the why?
No, what he's saying is, don't get married, and then the person you love, just put her in or put him or her in the will.
Yeah, and that's what she's saying.
She
just pretty much throwing a question back at him. That's all. Like, why wouldn't you want to get married?
And I'm going to say this too. Even when you're working at a company, when it comes down to putting people on your insurance and things like that. I mean, now at this, gay marriage,
you got a point as far as health insurance and
insurance and some things. You just can't put your boyfriend on everything.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? They're out there in the system, in the state system. There's the order. You know what I mean? And a wife is well respected. When you're the spouse or what have you. There's some things that may not be in your will that you may want your wife to be able to take care of, and she couldn't even legally take care of it because she's not legally your wife. You will run into all type of red tape and all type of issues when it comes down to not really being legally married. I know some people that were boyfriend and girlfriend for a very long time.
Right.
And then when that person transitioned or when some other things happened, they did not have any access to being able to keep any of it. I know this one lady, her boyfriend died. She was with him a long time. He bought the car for her in his name. They came and got the car, and some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know she wasn't making the payments, but I'm just saying, anything that was allocated or associated with him, she wasn't able to gain control over. And then you got kids and all this stuff sometimes that, when you're not married, you don't have a leg to stand on.
Right. Some of us should not be married because we're too damaged and refuse to get help.
Yes. Now that is the truth right there, man. And that's why some men and women, because sometimes I feel like the men are overlooked too. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to why some men don't want to get married. And the realization is that the mental trauma that some men have experienced too. You know what I mean? Some men have went through things as well. I know I can bear record to that. Witness to being a man that's faithful and a woman not necessarily breaking her vows in the arena of sexual infidelity, committing adultery. You know what I'm saying? But not being faithful as it relates to being supportive, or being about us, more so about self. You know what I mean? So some brothers have been hurt too. You know what I'm saying? And that's why some brothers don't want to get married, or either, they have experienced situations with their mothers, their aunties, grandmamas, cousins, and etc., and probably had some bad experiences, dating and stuff like that. And some people are afraid. I'm gonna never knock somebody who don't want to get married. You know what I'm saying? That's their decision. You know what I mean? I personally see it as a wonderful institution as long as you are married again to the right person.
Miss Amari, you want to add to that?
I drifted off on another answer.
No, go ahead.
I asked him the other day, we were just talking, and he said that he was single and he knew he wanted to be married. And I'm like, well, what is it about marriage that you wanted to be a part of? And he began to say, it was because of the togetherness and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I love the unity, man, and the friendship. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know you don't have to marry a woman to be intimate with her. I know you don't have to marry a woman to have a long time relationship with her and whatnot. Me, I love the camaraderie, far as I don't mind waking up to my queen. I don't mind going to sleep to my queen. I don't mind spending time with her on a daily basis. We have our breakaway sessions now because we'll both get tired of each other. We never did. But we do have our breakaway sessions, man, where we have our own time and stuff like that. I enjoy her company, man. I enjoy living with her on a daily basis. Now, do you have to be married to do that? Not according to my views, because I'm not religious. So not according to my view, my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? I just enjoy the benefits of being married, and I did it legally because of what I foresaid. That's the reason why. Now, if the truth of the matter is if those laws weren't in place, then of course I wouldn't have did it legally, because to she and I, we were already married. You know what I'm saying? We were already married. We just did it because we knew, me being a veteran, that she would not be able to have the benefits of being a veteran's wife. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't, do it legally.
And my thoughts of marriage were different. My thoughts of marriage were, not just legal. I feel like, if I joined with you, we made a commitment, then we were married.
And see,
but I had to get myself together because I needed to, do it the right way.
Excuse me, Queen. And by definition, too, marriage means to be made one. So sometimes people got to get behind the linguistics of the word. You know what I'm saying? Really, let the truth be told, it's customary about what a marriage is. It's not a blanketed system, if you will, because even over in Africa, they have their own protocol as well, as it relates to who is considered to be married or not. You know what I mean? So that's another thing too, but by definition, you know what I'm saying, when you're made one, you're married, you know what I'm saying, to unify, to become one. That's all it means, to become one unit.
Fabian Parsons says, in my humble opinion, we spend time operating in selfishness rather than love. Marriage should be entered into carefully and with complete honesty.
Wow, I like that. I like
absolutely. That. Absolutely.
Definitely, man. I'm straight up with my queen. You know what I'm saying? And she's real with me too. And he's absolutely right about what he said, man. That's one of the foundations of marriage, man, is trust. Because who you going to give your heart to if you don't trust them? You know what I'm saying? So honesty is definitely a critical key in a successful relationship overall, not just a marriage, but even it's a basis of friendship. You know what I'm saying? So you must be honest with that individual, man. Definitely.
You want to add to that, Queen?
Yes. Yeah, I honesty is a big thing. When I think about marriage, and I just, went off into deep thought again, because, when I came into this marriage, I came open. I didn't come as someone else. I didn't come pretending. I didn't come hiding things that would jump out later on in the marriage or anything. I was myself. I was an open book. And when I met my husband, I was like, this is who I am. If he can't accept me as who I am, then perhaps maybe this won't work. He's not the one for me. And if I couldn't accept him for who he was, then, that would be an issue on my part. You know what I mean? So I believe that people enter into marriages and relationships as someone that they're not, with a total mask on. You know what I mean? And then they come with, again, unrealistic expectations and expecting their spouse to be somebody who a figment of their imagination, who they made up in their head that they should, that their spouse should be, and then they're projecting on it and they're trying to make that individual into who they think they should be, which to me is totally out of order. It's totally out of line. I accepted my husband for who he is. But I do know that even as a person coming as an individual, as who they are, there is a certain level of respect that they should have for you. And there's a certain level of respect that I should have for him. I at one point in time as a Christian, we didn't go all into the zodiac and things like that. But when I began to realize that, some of the things that he was doing could have been his makeup. It could have been something with, the zodiac or whatever. And that's what caused me to be able to get to know him better, and for him to get to know me better. So he says to me, because he's like, not just military, he's a Virgo, he's real stern. I mean, Virgos. And Sagittarius like, oh, let's party.
Watch yourself now.
I forgot to sing her. And Sagittarius like, oh, la, let's party and this, that, and the other. But if I was all into myself and I say, okay, he's coming at me in such a way that he's trying to, make me do this and this, I understand this is a part of his personality. And he understands me, happy-go-lucky and all this stuff is a part of my personality. So, I don't know, that probably was all in left field.
Guys, if you want to call in and ask a question, send me an email or huru@searchforwho.com.
Even like a single person when you are not ready to stay. Yeah, I see somebody has a question there. They married and they're living like a single person.
Right.
I asked for a channel, and that's absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? I've been in a situation like that where I was supposed to be married, not with my husband now. I was supposed to be married, but we were living two twin individual single lives. He was single and I was single. You know what I'm saying? We were just roommates. And to me, that's not healthy. You know, if you're really, really looking for love and companionship with two people together and they're both going their separate ways, that's not going to produce the healthy, you know, outcome that you're looking for. I realized that as a single person, I was out there on one engine. I call it, you know, when there's a plane going around and the plane can fly sometimes, but it doesn't have the double engine. I realized that when I got with my husband, it became rocket fuel because we combined each other. With us two people, we became one and we took off like a rocket. You know, we've accomplished so much within the short amount of time that we've been together. You know, we've been together some years now, but just because we became on one accord, we decided to love, we decided to cooperate with each other, we decided not to be petty, we decided to look on the bright side of things, we decided to go after what we knew was in store for us. But when you're living two separate lives and you're single and you're not together, you're really not together, and the energy that you could be putting into your dreams, your aspirations, your purpose, your business, or whatever, you're spending that much more energy trying to chase somebody who's not even with you.
That's right.
So I decided within myself at that time, I said, you know what? I say, I'm married and this ain't going nowhere. I said, let me take my chances and I'll go out and I'll be single. At least if I go be single for real, I take a chance to run into a person who we can combine powers and we can become this atomic bomb.
That's right.
But long as I was wasting my time, and that's exactly what I was doing, I was wasting my time in a relationship, in a marriage that was going absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely. And when you get married, you must understand, man, that you become one. You're no longer, you know, an individual. And if you come like the sister was talking about, Queen, that was wonderful what she stated, because when you have a single mindset, you're going to end up single. Right. That's just the bottom line. Some people, they get married, unfortunately, for the benefits. You know, they just like the benefit of being married.
But what is that? Go expand on that.
You know, when you have a wealthy spouse, you know what I'm saying, or a famous spouse, you know, in some cases, or a person that has a prestigious position, and some people are really just in the relationship due to who the person really is. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I was a movie star, you know, think about this. All these women and men alike, you know, do all this hollering and screaming and everything for these men. But why wasn't these women doing that when they weren't famous?
True.
Where was all these women at? You know what I'm saying? When you know, when Tyrese was in Watts, and you know what I'm saying? Where was all these women hollering at then? You know what I'm saying? I had to holler at the Chocolate Brothers. You know what I'm saying? I got to show You know what I'm saying? But where were they at? You know what I'm saying? Where were they at? They was ugly. You know what I'm saying? They you know, they wasn't even worth these women time. But soon as these brothers, you know, acquire something in life, you know, and become this public figure, this icon, you know, now they want to get on the wave and start riding. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm trying to say. So some people, it's all about the benefit, man. You know, about who the person really is.
You know.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
For me, you know, my motto was, I don't care how many letters you can have behind your name, whether it's PhD, TD, HD, whatever the letter is, and I don't care how many numbers you have in your bank account. If you are not the one for me, then you were just not the one for me. You know, I'm not a gold digger, you know what I mean? And things like that. Some people get with you just because you got a platform.
Yeah.
Some people get with you, just like he said, because you look like you got money, some of them, and or because you this successful this, allegedly successful this, successful that, and then that marriage comes crumbling down, and then you want to blame marriage. Well,
that's right. That's right.
Well, you did not search out your spouse the way that you should have searched out your spouse.
That's right. Men too. And I've heard, man, let me tell you something, man. I knew a young man when I was in Virginia, stationed up there, man. And the young man was telling me that, he wanted to get with this woman because she had all these things. To be frank with you, I never heard a brother talk like that. To be honest with you, it was actually a shock to me, to be frank with you. And I mean, he sounded like a woman, you know what I'm saying? And no disrespect, I'm just saying that, it's kind of traditional, if that's what you want to call it, but you know what I'm saying, that's true. You know what I'm saying? But it's more so traditional for a woman to be a homemaker, not a man. You know what I'm saying? So this brother was talking like he wanted to be the homemaker. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? You know what I'm saying? And so some men too, unfortunately, they look for a woman to be their mama. And that's why some women don't want to get married too, because they get tired of actually, being in the position of a man's mother, and she feel like more so she in a relationship, as a parental relationship rather than it being a marriage. And so some women, they get tired of that because of our men's boyish ways, our childish ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to her crib. You know what I'm saying? And things of this nature. The terminology that we even use and whatnot shows the type of mindset that we in. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was our ancestor, Dr. Francis Ferris Wilson, that was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like even the very terminologies that we use shows the type of mental faculty, that we in. And so our women have a hard time with that because a lot of us, we look at them as sex toys. You know what I'm saying? Rather than a queen, and putting her on her throne. And it's because of, and I know some people get mad when I say this, but it's just the truth. It's because of the way gangster rap, gives the imagery of women, and things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes men don't value the woman, because of the way she carry herself too. And so that's the reason why too, sometimes a man don't want to marry that woman, is because she don't have the characteristics of a wife. You know what I'm saying? And to be frank with you, sometimes a man and a woman in life can be high-minded about their character as it relates to where they stand at as being marriage material. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're not marriage material. You know what I'm saying? All because of the way that they think. You know what I mean? And that's what disqualifies them from that. And then when that man or that woman meets a mature man and woman, then they really come to find out where they stand. You know what I'm saying? They find out that I'm not what I thought that I am, because now I met this man and this woman, you know what I'm saying, that has a high standard, and one who does have the characteristics of being a spouse and who does know what they want, who's not playing these childish little games like, they back in the sandbox in high school, you know what I'm saying, playing these popcorn and bubblegum games, you know what I'm saying, like they're little children. You know what I mean? And they don't have to have their hand held. So a lot of times a man and a woman are afraid to deal with a man and a woman that is marriage material because they don't know how to deal with it. They're used to being with somebody who has a low standard. You know what I'm saying? And that person challenges them for them to step it up in their life, to come off of welfare. Not knocking them. I'm just saying, I understand every woman's situation and men's situation not the same. I'm just saying, you should want more for yourself. And sometimes some people are comfortable in their situation and they don't want to move out of that situation because it's familiar with them and they're afraid to move outside of what they're familiar with.
Will the Black community be better off if more couples were married?
I can answer that. You say no?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because it's not marriage that you have put like this. It has to be a mature, and I have to say this time and time again, it's not enough for a man and a woman to be in a household together if they are both broken. They have to be whole in order for that marriage to be whole. And then I know, I'm telling you what I know, man. I'm telling you from personal experience. You know what I'm saying? I was in the house where both were married. Okay, David, you know, I was in a situation where it was a marriage, but both of them were broken. You see what I'm saying? And because of both of them having issues in their life, you know, there was a faulty foundation in that relationship. And the only thing I seen was chaos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it takes two mature people that are spiritually grounded. And also it has to be destined. Some people don't understand that, man. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, some people are not meant to be in your life. Even though they're a good person, it's not that they're a bad person. It's just that they're not the ones that's destined to be in your life. And I've been through that before. So it's not enough just to get married. They need to be the right fit. And some people are not tailor-made in the universe to suit somebody's life. And that's why they don't fit well.
Well, you know, I'm going to take this from a different angle. You know, as you know, we're married, and it's okay to be married and don't totally agree on everything. He's his own individual, I'm my own individual. But when we get together, you know, we click, you know, we agree where it's very important. I would say that in the Black community, about 70% of the women that have children have their children to as single Black women. You follow me? And a lot of the other communities, they are married. Now, when you have a single woman raising kids by herself, that's only one income, you know, for that particular household, which sometimes allows that household to be at poverty level, under poverty level, or barely making it. But if there's a two-parent system in that household, you can get somewhere quicker. You know, it's almost just like what I said about, you know, being on the end as the individual and with the couple. When you're together, you can go further. You know what I'm saying? You have more money. You know, you're supposed to, at least. You know, some folks, you know, they stop off to the strip club or they make it home. But anyways, when you have a two-person parent or a two-person or a marriage household, there's more income there. You know, and you're able to do things more. Your living, you know, what do you call it? Your standard of living, you know, begins to come up, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so I believe that it's beneficial in the Black community that we do have two-parent households. We have, you know, a system in the household where we're helping each other to get up. Other than that, I got to take it back a little bit too. A bunch of single, you know, mothers, and they're not making a whole lot, then there's an issue. But I do realize that right here in America right now, the Black woman, she is the most educated in America. So some of them have, better jobs. They may have a bunch of student debt, but some of them have better jobs, and in some of the cases, they do make enough money that could cover a two-parent, you know, household. But I think it's better and beneficial that we have both parents in the household, or a mother and a father, or what have you. I mean, they may not be the parent to all them children, but you know that we have them in the household in order to bring the Black family up out of the gutter where we're at right now.
And then, Miss Amari, do you think some women, their expectations when it comes to marriage are too unrealistic?
Absolutely.
Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. You know, I believe that some people, and I don't want to get into Christian women. I don't even want to go there, but I am. But anyway, some women, I mean, I don't know what type of fairy tale did they read, or you know, if some of them actually been around married people. I don't know who told them some of this stuff. But marriage is not a man just doing for you all the time and you're not doing for yourself. A man is not breathing for you because you don't want to breathe for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you got emotional issues, you need to put them in check. Yes. That's your issue.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I feel that it's wrong for a woman to project those things onto a man. He got to be there holding your hand and rubbing your head. And if he don't rub your head this way, he don't love you. The next thing you know, you're in depression. And while you're in depression, some other man talk to you. Next thing you know, you cheating on your man. And I'm gonna put it to you real. A lot of these women are not faithful. I don't care. I'm just putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that, you know, the expectations are unrealistic to a certain extent. If you don't have a grasp or a hold of yourself, if you don't love yourself enough to know, you know, that my husband can't do this for me. This is something that I have to do for myself, you know, or my spouse or whatever can't do this for me. You know, this is something I have to do myself. You know, if you don't have a grasp on that, there will be a serious problem.
That's right.
And you want me talking on the Christian women?
It's up to you. I got Brother Fabian in here. Go ahead.
Now, you know, I myself, I was a minister. I have a bachelor's in Christian education. Mm-hmm. And I was around a lot of single people in the church or what have you. And it's just astonishing, you know, at the amount of single women inside of the church because of unrealistic expectations. They can't go with this man because he doesn't shout and he can shout all over the church, or he hasn't guarded the church door, you know what I'm saying, or some type of unrealistic thing, and then you miss the good man because your pastor told you that you had to do thus and so. Some of these women can't even get a man because they have to pass him through their pastor and see if they are okay. Now, if your pastor is getting your money, your tithes and your offering, and they feel like this man that you present to them is going to stop you from doing that, I don't think you're going to get the go ahead on that. This is where common sense comes to play. This is how, when your relationship with the divine comes to play, and let that relationship with God lead and guide you to the man that you're supposed to be. I myself, I had a problem. Y'all, I might have been rebellious or whatever. I had a problem with the church because I didn't feel like they need to tell me what to do with my stuff. Yeah, that. So I had a problem. I wasn't going with anybody in the church and stuff like that, but I feel like I was mature enough to know how to choose my own spouse, and I didn't care if he was a church member or not.
All right, let's go ahead and bring Brother Fabian on. Hold on one second. There we go. Fabian, go ahead, brother.
Hey, greetings, family, and greetings to the Amaris. Thank you so much for your wisdom and for being transparent and sharing your experiences. It's been great to hear. And Prince Dynast, man, I don't know what's been going on with you, man, but these past 5, 6, 7 shows, man, I really like the direction that you're going in. I respect and appreciate your growth and your open-mindedness. And it's very timely, so thank you. I just want to, give my 2 cents about marriage. And what I would say is that when we get ready to get married in this country, there's no set cultural standard for marriage for the vast majority of Black Americans. We kind of wing it. We look at the various things that influence our opinions about marriage. We look at television, we look at family, we look at religious indoctrination, we look at social trends, and then all of those things shape our perspective on marriage. What we think it should be, what we require, what we desire. And I think we really just have to go and look at is what we think about marriage the right thing? Is what we've been told about marriage the right thing? I've been looking at some of the comments, and it seems that most of the comments, everybody's coming from a self-centered, individualistic, kind of like selfish perspective.
Exactly.
And if that's where you come from, you are not going to have the success that you want, because when you get married, it's two people working together. And I like to give this analogy. If you were on an island, right, and it's just you and one other person, you and this woman, and the only way you guys are going to get off that island and get to paradise is if you work together, right? You work together and everyone is fulfilled, and together you guys get off that island. What would you do? And I think marriage should be approached the same way. When you get with a person, you have to ask yourself, what are my needs? What is this other person's needs in this marriage for us to be able to work together to get off the island? And I don't see that we're doing that. Everything is I, me. And that just doesn't work in marriage. And I'm speaking from experience. Okay.
That is so true.
Go ahead.
And some of it is just sheer pettiness.
Yeah.
And immaturity.
Yeah.
And I believe that we can really keep the divorce rate down if people decide to grow up before they get married.
Yes.
And heal too, because that plays a critical piece in a person actually having a healthy relationship, because you have to love yourself first. And some people don't even know how to love themselves right.
Well, I agree with that. And then the other thing is just honesty. We have to be honest, because when you go into a situation with another person,
That's
normally when you first meet someone and you're attracted to them, you're somehow interested in them, you're courting them, you put up your representative. You go from this to this.
Yeah.
Right? You put your representative up, and you let your representative do all the talking. You introduce, in actuality, you introduce someone completely different.
Yeah.
To the person that you claim to be courting, and oftentimes they do the same thing. So when we're doing that, we're operating in deceit.
Yeah.
Really.
Absolutely.
We're operating in deceit. I mean, just be honest.
There you
and the
go.
thing is, some people, when you're honest, some people may not accept who you are.
Exactly.
And that's okay, because that individual is not the one that you should be yoked up with.
That's right.
If you can't do it in honesty.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. You know what I'm saying? And because now you're giving them a fair chance.
Correct.
For them to be able to make that choice about whether or not they want to go forward with you or not. Because I can't remember who the sister is that sang that song, but she said, "There's a stranger in my house." Who is this person that I'm married to now? And that's another reason why divorces happen, because this person was hypocriting the whole time.
They transformed.
Well, let me ask you this, but should we allow room for growth?
Yes.
So that's another question,
Yeah.
Either they're hypocriting or they're just growing.
Well, we're talking about acting, because what we're talking about is some people that actually hide, like brother was saying. They know that they're not a good financial manager. You know what I'm saying? They know that they're not sexually disciplined enough. You know what I'm saying? And so the woman unleashes what she's really looking for. Then now he becomes that. And then he's still playing games on the side. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that she want a serious relationship, but because he has a lusting problem. He has a sexual problem. He doesn't have the discipline, or she doesn't have the discipline. They go into, oh yeah. And they're playing games, man. That's what I mean about hypocrite.
Okay.
If that person is looking for a one woman, if they're a one woman man, and that's what they're looking for, and she's looking for, and she's a one man woman, and she's looking for one man, and that's on the table, but that you know what I'm saying, you like to do what you do, but you want to play the field and be married at the same time.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I would say also, in reading some of the comments, I mean, and this is no judgment. It is your sole decision, to determine whether or not you want to get married. If you don't want to get married, that's fine.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. or right. That is
That's
your
right.
decision. But if you endeavor to be married,
Thank you.
then you have to, I think you need to make a list of the things that you require in a mate.
Yes, a
And when
realistic.
you need to make a list. And when you meet a potential mate, you should have a date where you share that list. And you have to ask yourself, if the person that I'm interested in, has everything on this list, great. Maybe we can, and I have everything on their list. Okay, looks like we might be able to do this. If there's some things that are missing, am I willing to still go ahead with this with the knowledge that the things on this list that I require may never, ever get fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
Would I still be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we meet people and we try to groom them or change them into Susan is so funny. Shout out to Susan.
No paper for that.
A lot of times we meet people and we try to groom them and change them into what our idea of a good mate is. And sometimes because of our conditioning, our idea of a good mate is flawed. It's not accurate. It's, maybe too much, Another thing is when we talk about from a male's perspective, I always hear about losing money, assets. If I get a divorce, I lose, half of everything.
Exactly.
And as a businessman who has many, I won't say many, as a businessman who has a few assets, I can understand how that fear may creep in. But in my mind, if I lose everything today, or if I lose half of what I have today, my acumen, my business acumen, my work ethic, I'll be able to get it back, within a year or two. I mean, easy, especially if I'm, don't have to factor in someone else's time and feelings, et cetera, to be able to just go back and rebuild. So I think that a lot of men should not have that fear. And I think that if you do have that fear, part of going into marriage is being prepared. And there are certain things that you should have, like a non-living trust. Some people talk about a prenup. I'm not against prenups at all. I'm not against it. I think that's just, one of those things that you have to deal with in honesty.
There you go. That's it.
If you meet your mate, your potential mate, and you tell them, hey, before I met you, I've worked hard, I've established these things, I've created these things in my life, before you were there. And in the event, since people are fickle, in the event that things don't work out, I don't want you taking this wealth that I built before you away from me. It's not fair. Yeah. And that's honest.
There you go.
But then at the same time, if you meet someone and you marry them when you don't have any assets, when you don't have anything, you don't have any wealth, and that partner, I'm speaking from a male's perspective, that partner helps you build those things, helps you achieve that wealth.
There you go.
And for you to just want to divorce and not give them anything is going back to the beginning of our conversation where I talked about operating in selfishness.
There you go.
A woman should not walk away. A woman that has been with you and helped you build your assets should not walk away with nothing. That's wrong.
Right. Absolutely. Man.
That's wrong.
I love that. Right? I love that.
And if you are such a man, then you should be able, in my humble opinion, to be able to go back and rebuild whatever it is that you had to give to that wife. And in some cases, maybe it'll give you some wisdom, if you decide to get married again, how to make sure, that you make your marriage work so you don't have to split any of your assets the next time. Okay. So
that's fair.
Fair. And that's what it's all about. Don't be selfish.
Fabio,
I see you about to say something.
Fabio, let me ask this: did Jeff Bezos' wife help him build Amazon?
I don't know their situation, but what I do know is that I don't know their situation, so I can't answer that question. I don't know.
One second though, but Susan, at the same time, Susan. Now I think what happened, Jeff Bezos got caught sending out naked pictures to in fact, before I say that, let me look it up. But I think he got caught sending out some questionable pictures to another woman. And I think that woman's either brother or friend wanted to extort him because of those pictures. So I think he just came out clean.
So in a situation like that, I mean, you know, it should have been in his contract before when he got ready to marry his spouse, he should have told her that, hey, I got a pension for doing this kind of freaky stuff, and I may send some naked pictures out. He should have just been honest.
Here we go. Here we go. Jeff Bezos admitted sending photos. Yeah.
He may not have lost all his bucks if he would have been honest.
Yeah, I want to add to what Fabian said after you get done, Dynast.
Yeah. So basically, Jeff Bezos' nudes reportedly leaked by Lauren Sanchez. Yeah. So I think, and here we go. Brother of Jeff Bezos' girlfriend.
He want the news. The prince want the news. He want the tea.
So I think he was sending some new photos to his girlfriend, and I believe the girlfriend's brother got those news or something. It was pretty much trying to extort Jeff Bezos. Hey, give me some money, or I'm putting these nudes out. I mean, that's allegedly the story, but I know he was sending new photos.
He set himself up for that one.
A lot of this has to do with respect.
There you go, bro.
It has to do with respect. We've gotten into a culture. We've been conditioned to have a culture where we really disrespect our women, and vice versa. And
there you go.
And when they disrespect us, our women are our mirror image, right? They're our mirror image. When we disrespect our women, in turn, what we give them, they give us back, right? So we started off in, at different points in time, not treating our women properly, and now, we're getting it back. So what it really comes down to is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to, because I talk to guys about this a lot. If you have like a best homeboy, right? Your buddy, your road dog. What do you do for them? When you guys are together, you spend time. I meet brothers who have more intimate conversations, about different stuff, right? I know brothers like this. You might give your homeboy money. You might do all kind of stuff for your homeboy. Now you take that, you show loyalty to him. You won't mess with your homeboy's girl. You're there for him when he needs you, right? For a male friend. But then for your wife, who may cook for you, she's traditional, she cooks for you, she sleeps next to you every night. When you get sick, your wife is there doctoring you up, right? She's taking care of you, right? Sometimes, if you have a woman that's, that handles financials well, she may be the one, you may give her the go to work, give her the money, and she's the one making sure all the lights stay on, making sure all the bills get paid. She's the one opening her body up to you, allowing you to enter into her. She's taking your seed and giving you back a son. Yeah. Right. Yes, this is really your best friend, right? If you go to jail, I guarantee you, if you are a good husband, your wife is going to be there to bail you out of jail before your homeboys will. I've seen that. I'm from LA. I've seen that a million times. Right. So then why is it that we give so much loyalty to our homeboys? But then when it comes to our wives, we don't show them the same kind of loyalty when they've shown that they are better friends.
Wow, my queen and I were just talking about that on yesterday, brother. That's deep right there.
What does that say about us as men? And so the thing is, we just have to look at ourselves critically. We have to do a critical examination from time to time just to see who we are and what our value system is. I'm not perfect. I don't proclaim to be. This is just my humble opinion. But if we treat our women better, and if we are a better example to them, because they do everything that we do, if we're a better example to them, then they will become better themselves. That's a fact. If we exercise more self-discipline and control of ourselves,
there we go.
Then we won't fall into a lot of the traps that we fall into by having a lack of discipline.
That's right. That's right.
If our objective isn't simply just to say, you know, whatever it is that needs to be said, you know, to conquer this woman's womb, you know, to be able to go inside of her, right? Because a lot of times that's men's objective. We see something, I mean, we're just being honest here. We see something fine, and we say, I got to have that right there. I just got to have it, right? And we go after it. But then what ends up happening is we stop using logic, we stop using discipline, and then the next thing you know, we find ourselves in a situation that's painful, that we don't want to be in. But if we would not have allowed our loin, if we would have not allowed our lust to drive us, if we would have used our mind and sat down with this sister and found out what was really in her head, what was really in her heart, then we would have been able to make a better decision, you know, on whether how far we want to go with her in a relationship. True. And so we just have to look at ourselves critically, do a critical examination, as I said, and treat our women better. And our women in return will treat us better. I believe that.
I just want to say, I hate to go all the way back in regards to somebody was talking about taking half, you know, why would a man build up this and then some woman takes half? And you elaborated on that, you know, which was very good. But what about a woman who has quite a bit and a man comes? I mean, should she split it down the middle? When I met my husband, you know, I had things, you know, I had houses, I had land, you know, I had money in the 401k, and I had a lot of savings, and I had things. And when we met each other, I didn't go with him. I didn't, you know, link up with him because of what he had. You know what I mean? I myself personally saw his courage and his integrity and his leadership skills, and I felt that it was an even exchange. So no, I didn't do a prenup, but I have a lot of female or women friends that have PhDs, they have houses, they have real estate businesses, they have a whole lot of things that they could lose, just like a man stated, you know, if they go out of marriage the wrong way or end up picking the wrong individual. There are a lot of wealthy Black women out there, and just like my husband stated, there are some men that are looking for that. You know, because they, you know, they're looking for a successful woman, even if they're not successful.
Mary J. Blige wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, so you're okay. So, I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I understand that.
If you are a woman that is wealthy and you meet a man that does not possess the same assets or you know, the same amount of wealth as you,
finish your point.
You need to just be honest. You know, you got to be honest. You got to say, hey, I have all of this stuff, you know, that I've accumulated. I have all of this stuff that I've accumulated before I met you, and human beings are fickle. And if this doesn't work out, it's not fair for me to have to give you half of it. And that's an honest conversation that you just have to have. And as a result of that, in order for me to protect myself and, you know, the wealth that I've created before you, sign this prenup.
Right, and that's in both ways, you know, for a male.
It goes both ways.
For a man overly scared, you know, if a female can't be overly scared if she possesses assets.
And let me say this too, because what brother was saying about being a successful person and things of that nature, and not getting married because you're successful, you know, to me that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Denzel Washington been married a long time, you know what I'm saying, to his queen. You know what I mean? Both of them are successful. You understand what I'm saying? And it just don't make any sense because you're wealthy not to get married because you're wealthy. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any logical sense. I mean, no disrespect to the brother. I'm just speaking my opinion the way that I feel. You know?
I agree.
For myself, you know, the reason why I didn't do one, you know what I'm saying, is because I know the type of woman I'm married to. Like she said, she didn't ask me for nothing. My queen never asked me, I promise you. She never asked me, Amari, could you give me some money to pay a bill? In fact, she would tell me, I got this. When we went out to dinner or to lunch or breakfast, she pulled out her card. You understand what I'm saying? So I already knew that I have a woman that was about teamwork to make our dream work. You know what I mean? I already seen that she was building you know, a kingdom, you know what I'm saying, on a solid foundation. I seen the way she raised her children, and I seen how she didn't allow me to meet her children until I knew that, you know, or until she knew that rather, I'm the right one for her. You know what I mean? So there is numerous things about her that solidified and that confirmed as well that, okay, this is the queen for me. This is the woman for me. That never even crossed my mind, because I know she don't want nothing from me, because she never have asked anything from me. You know what I'm saying? She never have been that way. But you know, everybody's situation, I'm not knocking somebody who does do that. You have every right, you know, to do that. You have every right to not get married. But the only thing I want to do, just encourage the people who have a negative viewpoint about there's no good African women or there's no good African men. What we're here to do is to debunk that and to change the narrative about African couples.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what we're here to do, to show the world that we can love each other, we can get along with each other, and in spite of the negative experiences she and I both had.
I agree. I see a comment here. The Diaspora channel said you can't go into marriage thinking about how that marriage will fail. Do your homework, and once you are ready mentally and spiritually, you can get married.
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
I agree with that, but I don't think that if you are a person who has who has accumulated assets prior to marriage, you know, that has benefited your life and helped you take care of yourself up to the point where you meet a potential spouse. I really don't think that talking about how you intend to protect those assets prior to meeting is going into a marriage thinking that it will fail. I look at it more as consolidating positioning. You know, you're just you're negotiating and consolidating positioning. And the truth of the matter is, when most people get married, I mean, they don't think that their marriage is going to fail when most people get married. But at some point, things break down. Maybe initially there was not enough homework. Maybe during the course of the marriage, people change. Maybe, you know, people are human, and because they are human, they are imperfect and may do something during the course of a marriage that caused it to take another direction. And because of all of those things, you know, which is possible for both people involved, male and female, it is wise to, if you have assets going in my opinion, to protect them. So when you leave, if something does happen, you know, during the course of that marriage and you have to leave that marriage, at least you have what you came in with to continue to help you to take care of yourself after.
Absolutely. But
thank you for joining us, bro. I'm going to bring somebody else on.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem, brother.
All right.
Peace. All right, Ramil, go ahead.
Yeah, what's going on? Thanks for having me. I'm just curious as to why it's still being, you know, the narrative being put out is that successful Black men who are upwardly mobile should be taking this huge risk with marriage. I know you guys skimmed over a little bit, and yes, it should be fair on both sides. But I mean, the numbers say that, you know, more than likely the marriage is going to end in divorce. More females initiate marriage. I don't see the benefits that a successful upwardly mobile Black man would get from being married, you know, besides companionship, which he can get without that. I don't see why he should risk his assets by making a contract with the state through a woman who is very emotional, who at any time can get up and just say, I'm done with you and leave, which is what they do a lot of times. Why should successful upwardly mobile Black men still take this risk in 2020?
Let me touch on that, brother, because he asking about Black men. My brother, that's your opinion. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is that, you know, you have a right not to want to be. We're not saying that they have to. You understand? And, you know, we said this earlier. You know, they don't have to get married. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you're saying, what is the benefit? First of all, you don't get married for a benefit. Okay? You get married because that's what you desire. You don't get married for a benefit. Okay? So you do it because you enjoy that person. You're in love with that person. And you and that person wants to build a family together. Marriage is about family. Okay? It's about unity. It's about love. It's about enjoying one another's company and spending your life with somebody, that you see as a lifetime romantic friend. That's of the opposite sex.
Well, is marriage not a business decision though? I mean, I think, any business decision.
I never said it wasn't a business decision, you know what I'm saying? Because there is a business side of marriage. I'm just answering your question because you asked that specific question about why. And I was saying you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? It's not about.
Well, the title of the show is why Black men should get married. So I was just,
Right. No, I got that part, brother. I mean, no disrespect. That's common sense. Well, what I'm saying is you asked a question. It was your question. You understand? I'm answering your question. Your question was, why should a man do that? What's the benefit? It's not about a benefit. That's what I'm saying. I'm answering your question. It's not about it.
Well, the thing is that if it's a business decision, why would you make a business decision without benefits? That's what I was getting at.
Listen what I'm saying. I didn't marry her for benefits. When I married her, I made sure that when I married her, that we would be still okay. Now that's the business part about it. But I didn't distinctly marry her just so I can build an empire. I didn't distinctly marry her for that. I'm gonna get married so I can build, and I can do. No, you know what I'm saying? I married her because I love her. Now I made sure that when I did marry her, that she would be a person that will contribute and be able to ensure that we had a solid foundation in our relationship. That's all I'm saying. Like if brother don't want to get married and he afraid that he's going to lose his wealth, I mean that's he have every right to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's about why should we do it? You know what I'm saying? We don't have to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand you saying that we don't have to do it. And I understand that, but when there's a public show on a public platform, when the narrative is being pushed that Black men should get married, I'm going to ask why. This is a public platform, so of course we have every right to. But some men might take this and do it, and according to the numbers, I mean, it's just not a tangible, beneficial thing for men. I mean, the numbers state this.
Talking about numbers, but we talking about the survival of our people. I don't care what statistics say. There was no such thing as statistics before we got enslaved. You understand? This is not about no statistics. This is about the survival. Relax. This is about the survival of our family. That's what this is about. I almost said to the H to the double hockey stick with that statistics, because the problem is that slavery has separated us, and nobody was thinking about no doggone statistics before we came from.
Well, I thought Africans created math. So wouldn't statistics come from Africans that they created?
What I'm trying to tell you is forget a statistic. Okay, you keep talking about a statistic. This is about survival of our family. The reason why we come together as a family unit is to produce, okay, to bring about children in this world that's going to be beneficial to society. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about before we got enslaved, this was the mindset of our people. It was about oneness. It was about building. It was about ensuring that we produced moral children on a solid foundation. But what we have today, and let's be very clear, what we have going on today has happened because of slavery. Okay, half of us are not faithful. Half of us are in the situations and the mindsets that we're in because of the family being destroyed. That's where all this mess come from. Bottom line, if none of us have ever been colonized, none of us would think the way that we think. Let the truth be told. Now, I'm not saying everybody would still want to get married, because you have a right to want to be single or married. That's your choice. Okay, but if you're going to get married, we're just simply saying, do it the right way. Do it the right way. And if a successful man feel like, well, I'm going to lose everything, that's fear. That's just really the bottom line, King. The bottom line is fear.
That's fear. Hold on. See, that's why I disagree. Can it be an analysis of the current situation? I mean, every decision is not based on fear. There's such thing as calculated risk. There's such thing as making decisions based on the analysis.
You keep talking about statistics, and it sounds like to me, statistically, somebody is scared. That's
No,
just
statistically, that's called having, being able to analyze data, which a lot of black men don't like to do these days. We like to make emotional decisions even when the numbers are against it. And that's why we're behind economically, because we don't pay attention to the numbers.
I'm happy and we successful, and we have a real estate business. So what you got?
Yeah. I'm in real estate as well. But the truth is, if you build an empire and the lady decides she wants to leave today because you got on her nerves,
to say about this
because your breath stank one day, she said she wanted to leave, then half your stuff is gone, if you're lucky.
You shook, King. You shook.
No, it's just being common sense. I mean, it's going on every day throughout history.
Man, you shook.
There's a news story every day. A new man losing all his wealth to a female that did not help him build anything.
What about Denzel Washington? What about what's the other actor name that been married a long time? Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. Of course, there's always going to be success stories. First of all, they come from another time period.
Why did Denzel Washington still get married knowing that? What's the other one? Terry Crews.
Well, once again, they came from a different time period. On top of that,
dude, I'm only 40. I'm only going on 44 years old.
Okay, so you're the previous generation then. You're generation before millennials.
All of my male cousins, majority of my male cousins are married.
See, you're using personal experience versus the broad perspective. That's why statistics are important, because your personal experience does not validate what's going on across the country.
It's not going to stop me from going forward and doing what's in my heart.
All right, like I said, it's a business decision, man. Who goes into business with that has a 50% chance of failure?
Long, brother, I'm not shook. I won't let no data stop me from marrying a beautiful black queen and us building a family together, all because of what.
Okay, so it's fair enough. So why does the state have to be involved?
Say again?
Fair enough. So why does the state have to be involved?
Why does the who?
The state. When you get married, get the marriage certificate, and now the state is.
Why the white man did what he did?
I'm saying, is that why shouldn't that at least be eliminated from the marriage?
We're in the country that, you know what I'm saying, it's a European system. I mean, so until you overthrow the European,
what I'm saying is, why can't two people be together without the certificate? Why can't we, operate like that?
You already answered your own question. It's because it's the law.
No, because you can live together without that, though. You can live together without that.
Bro, I got that. But you asked me why, and I'm telling you, it's the law, and we already answer all these questions that you're asking.
No, it's not. You don't need a certificate to live together. What I'm saying is that men, it's always being promoted that men should put all their assets on the line. It's always being
legality, brother. Were you in this conversation the whole time we be talking?
Yeah, you don't have to have a certificate to live together. Black men have always put their resources on the line, and we're always losing because of it. This is why we can't build wealth, because most of our wealth is tied up.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Prove it.
Most of our wealth is tied up to the females.
Prove it. Prove that. How is it that me and my wife are building wealth? Jay-Z and Beyonce building.
It's all here we go. Personal. I'm not talking about personal experience. I'm talking about what the data says.
What's your point?
I'm talking about not your personal experience, man. Stop taking the personal. This is what the data says.
Personal, King. You don't know me.
The data says that black men aren't building wealth.
Okay. And what's your point?
So I'm saying part of that reason is because most of the money we will be using to build wealth is being invested into something that has no return, which is, without sounding too vocal, females. We spend most of our money trying to build with them, and they're not builders.
Well, I don't agree with that because of what I'm going through. So of course I'm going to refute.
Once again, personal experience, man.
Well, what else you want me to talk about, King? That's all you can talk.
Let's talk about what we can measure.
Well, what you talking about? What I can measure? This is real measurement right here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, your personal experience. If I use my personal experience, it'll be a different story.
We have plenty of friends in our circle that has built. So I don't hear. You understand? So what are you trying to say?
Okay, I know friends that have built too. Does that mean that that doesn't take away from what's going on in the country?
I'm not saying to do. I'm not saying to do. But what I'm saying is you keep talking about statistics. You keep saying, well, if this is going to happen, if you can, what if all day long?
It's not what if though. It's like it's heavy probabilities. What if is if it's successful. The only way to be successful is if one person dies. Till marriage does you part. The only way to win that marriage is when one of the parties pass away. Because it says till death do you part.
I mean, that's just your opinion. I mean, you got every right to have your own opinion, but far as when for what I'm hearing, it sounds more negative than positive on your end. I mean
putting your assets on the line. Putting your assets on the line is negative. Yes, it is.
Well, no,
I think black men need to be more careful with the moves that we make.
You keep talking from your opinion. I just gave you numerous examples of people who are successful.
And I can give you more examples of people who are not successful.
What you're saying.
We can go toe for toe for people who are successful with black men who are successful with marriage and black men who aren't.
Okay, so what do we have this conversation for then?
I'm just saying the title says black men should get married on a public platform. I don't think that narrative should be pushed for successful black men in 2020. So you're going to get pushback.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and you got every right, to push back, and I'm gonna push back too. So it's
no problem. But yeah, I mean, only one side was being heard. I'm just saying, man.
We both are successful, and we both been through our trials and tribulations, brother. It's just a matter of opinion. That's all. And
I mean, well, one opinion is based on statistics, and the other one's based on emotions. So yes.
Well, of course, it's going to be emotion because obviously I'm in a relationship that's successful. So that's common sense, of course.
Yeah, I don't think black men should be making emotional decisions in 2020.
Well, what do you? Okay, so that's your emotion too. It's called opinion. So what's the point?
No, I think it's based on the numbers, man. Well, we are economically.
I'm trying to say I don't care about a number. First of all, we got to look at why we're in that situation. This is what I'm trying to tell you. We got to look at why we're in this situation, brother. Period. Bottom line. And I'm not going to get away from the fact that we were colonized. And most of our men who don't want to be faithful, or most of our women who don't want to get into certain situations, is because of us being so messed up, mentally messed up. And if we were raised with better morals and we were raised on better principles, then we won't have this negative connotation. We won't have nobody, feeling that type of way and being so afraid to go forward, in a relationship, if we didn't have all this negative light being shed on relationships. Because it's not a negative thing when you're in a relationship with the right person. You know what I'm saying? And that's really just the bottom line. If you with the right,
here's what's really going on, man. This is why marriages are failing. Let me tell you the real reason why marriages are failing. Marriages are failing because, real quick, marriages are. Sorry, go ahead.
Ramil, after you make this statement, I'm gonna get somebody else on. But go ahead, bro.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for having me on. What I'm saying is the reason why marriage is failing right now is because in this current technological age, men and women do not need each other for survival. Marriage, the purpose of marriage was in the agrarian age because you needed a lot of kids to till the land and to make sure the household was clean. You needed bodies. In this day and age, you don't need that. So because of the human necessity element is out of it, people are not motivated to take marriage seriously.
Man. You sound brainwashed. I love you, bro. You sound brainwashed, bro.
Nah, man, it's just the truth, man. You had the Industrial Revolution.
No, it's not the truth. How can you be? Are you an African talking like that, brother? So
I'm an African American, man.
Brother, that's not no Aquarius age.
It's not it's common. It's history. We don't need it for necessity, so that way people don't take it serious. That's why divorce rates are up. That's why people are not taking it serious.
You don't need to be married to survive. Anybody with common sense knows.
So it could be argued that it's an outdated thing right now.
There's no such thing as marriage being outdated.
Brother Ramil, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, Zoe Dredd, go ahead, brother.
Peace, brother. Sapa say, brother.
Sapa, bon boule.
Mabule. That's what it is, brother. hey, peace to you, brother, and peace to you, sis.
Hey, peace, brother. Peace, brother. We appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. What the brother just left the line. I agree with him to certain aspect. Yes, the divorce rate in the United States is pretty high. I say the divorce rate is at 40 to 50%, or it could be 85%. Because I think that a lot of men right now is opting out of marriage because the fact that it's useless to get a marriage license. Because I think the marriage license, it benefit the woman in America, not the man here in America. You know what I mean? So, if the divorce rate was so high, then why a lot of men not getting married? And I feel like the society that we live in right now, you know what I'm saying, you have the marriage courts and things of that nature. And I think that the whole society or the government think that I say Black Americans, you know, they think that we're incompetent. The fact that we cannot handle our own marriage things, marriage and stuff like that. Because I feel like we should. I think that every black man in America should not get a marriage license. I feel like they should make their own contract. You sit down with your woman, you make your own contract, and another thing is just make an affidavit. Just do an affidavit. I'm in love with you. You in love with me, woman. Whatever happened on this contract, we're going to dissolve it. You sit down with your woman and you discuss what's to be on that contract. And that's the reason why they have prenuptial contracts. Now I'm gonna tell you this. Now one woman, my queen, she told me, look, I don't want shit from you. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be happy.
Exactly.
But she said she with a prenuptial contract. She agree with that. I'm like, all right. As long as we together, things of that nature. Now another a statistic that the sister brought up earlier. She talking about black men. I don't know if she said, I don't know. I ain't trying to quote you wrong. Sis, you say black men cheat or things like that. Well, it's the case. I think that I think a lot of. If cheating gonna be involved, I feel like black men should get in a polygamous relationship, have more than one wife. You know what I mean? Then all you gotta do is set the rules and regulations and authority over in the household, and have an authority over that woman. So I think that a lot of black women in the black community, cross.
Uh-oh.
Oh, bro.
Well, the queen, if you would, Prince, Queen got something to say, if you would.
Yeah, I do want to say that a lot of these marriages are dissolving because of no self-discipline. Some of these people are afraid to go in marriage because they know they don't have any self-control, and they will lose some things. By the time you get to the courthouse and then somebody is proven that you went outside of marriage and you did some other things, you may come up short. But I also want to say, what about the women that go through divorces also? Some of my own relatives are paying alimony, and they're females, and child support. You see what I'm saying? It's not just beneficial to the male. The female is having to pay child support. She's having to pay alimony. She's having to give up half of her 401k, or whatever assets that were obtained within the marriage. It's not just a one-sided thing on the male. It's happening. The judges, they're judging this accordingly. A lot of times the female does get the children, but you do see a lot of single male, what is his name? He has his kids. A lot of the sports stars and things like that, they're starting to have their own kids. And a lot of these women do have to pay. I'm not saying that his wife had to pay child support.
Oh, you're talking about Candace Parker and the basketball player, right?
Dwayne Wade has his kids, and a bunch of others are fighting to have their children. And even without being famous and things like that, just some of the locals, the women are having to pay child support. I know my very own cousin had to give half of her 401k, and she has to pay child support and alimony.
And I think child support is very incompetent.
Bro, let me finish this point. Look at Mary J. Blige. You know what I'm saying? Look at her situation as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, because see, you had made statements about documentations, and no disrespect, family, anybody on here who's trying to make this a blanketed statement, you got to relax with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got brothers like me who was in the military. I keep saying this time and time again. Okay, they cannot put their wife on any type of orders and they travel overseas or go anywhere unless she is legally his wife. So we got to stop making this thing a blanketed statement. We got to look at the whole scope about things. That may work for two people who are not in the military. Okay, and that's just really the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's situation is different. We got to stop this blanketed statement going on out there because everybody's situation is not the same. All right.
Well, well, in that case, brother, I like I said, I think, I mean, do you agree about every black American, every black man in America should not go to the courthouse, or make their own contract? You think that's agreeable?
Well, you
You
know,
think every
first and
man
foremost,
should make their own contract with their woman if anything happens?
well, let me say this because see, here's why I keep trying to help y'all to understand, man. When somebody dies, there is a legality that comes into measure. You can't do a death certificate and have all this legal ramifications involved without some legal type of cushioning in place. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have
Well,
some type of legal documentation. Okay.
well, okay. You might have legal
You don't have to get
documentations,
no marriage
but
license. No, you don't. I'm not saying you got to get because you don't. The truth of the matter is, though, when it comes to assets and everything like this, brother, the reason why you want to do that, people got to start looking at the what ifs. Okay, you got family trying to come. Say, for instance, you think that somebody mama won't try to do something, but somebody mama might just try to do something. That's my
well, that's
son. I'm
well,
I'm coming,
marriage.
I'm
Well,
coming to
marriage.
get this and this.
Right.
You know what I'm
And marriage is a business. You know that, right? Marriage is a business. It's a
saying?
corporation.
I know.
Because the forefathers of America put that in place for
Well, of
child
course,
support,
that never
for women to get.
before we got here. Of course, everybody keep asking. Of course, I
Well,
do. I know that. Of course,
marriage is a business. Same way. Like me, for example, I'm from the Caribbean of Haiti, right?
mhm.
A Haitian woman. Well, actually, one of my family members asked me, hey, brother, hey, Jeff, can you marry this person here so she can receive her papers and green card? I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, And the simple fact, I'm in a relationship already. I'm like, I can't do it. I mean, because now regarding to that, yeah, the Trump administration,
That's something different right there, man. That's not even that's
a
not
lot of people from the
even like
Caribbean or
that's only for
Africa.
benefits. That's only to get the person over to get the green. But I'm talking about
No,
two
no,
people.
no. But the person already living in the United States, but does not have papers. You know what I mean? And
Oh no,
and
I'm with you, but
it's
that
all a
situation
business,
would be
brother.
different. I'm just saying, but that situation would be different. We're talking about two people like my wife and I, like you said, sitting down and making a contract,
Yes,
without, and I keep saying this time and time again,
without
I know
what?
you don't have to be married. I know you don't need a marriage license in certain situations. I'm just saying in some situations,
Why not make an affidavit?
you're still going to need documentation,
That's why
like
you make an affidavit for that, brother.
Let me
guys or
let, let
something.
me let me interject. And even we don't have to go as far down the line as death. I work in corporate America. Say I want to put my girlfriend or the lady who stays with me on my benefits. I
Mhm.
can't.
You
You have
can't.
to be
Exactly. Thank you.
But I also want to say, so you'll marry a woman quicker to get a green card than marry the woman that you love. So because you want to be in business and sell your right to be married, you would rather marry somebody as a business rather than marry the woman you love. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that the women that you love, all it is, you don't mix business with pleasure, right? It's all a business aspect, because uh, I told her, all right, if I were to do it right now, you have to give me $50,000, $10,000 for the process. We go to the courthouse, get married, things of that nature. Act like we're living together, things of that nature, because a lot of times, people that does that, they do it for the money, you know. Necessarily, yes,
Yeah,
there might be feelings involved, but at the same time,
yeah. We
you
mentioned
gotta
that
learn how to
earlier.
control yourself.
You're right though,
You
bro.
know,
I don't disagree with that right there. It's like it's this battle about assets and everything like that. And over in Africa, man, if anybody know about various cultures over Africa, 'cause I have to talk about Africa. That's what we are. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's a business aspect. In some cultures, the daughter don't even have no say in who she marries. So
That's why.
we all under, if anybody know anything about how things work far as culture, it also depends upon where you live at, where you grew up at, what country did you grow up in? You know what I'm saying? What type of atmosphere did you grow up in is how you're going to actually look at marriage. And because, for instance, polygamy, that's a business. That's what I keep saying. I fully understand the business part about it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But what I'm talking about is that, you know what I'm saying, for anybody who don't want to get married because they want to protect their assets, listen, I'm not arguing with you. If that's what you want to do, then you do that, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's understandable. You know, and I feel like if you love that woman very much, I feel like that's called prostitution. I call that prostitution. You go to the you go to the courthouse, get a marriage license. I call that prostitution. Why would you pay $60 or $70 for a woman to have your last name? That's called prostitution.
But
so why not?
Pay you $50,000.
Come again, that sis?
But you want somebody to pay? Oh,
but
okay.
he was doing that.
No. I'm not saying that.
You're prostituted to go and pay $70, but you charging somebody $50,000.
But all you do is helping the person out by getting their papers so they can stay in the United States of America. You understand? And right now, that's a big business. That's a big business, though. You understand? but why not sit down with your woman and make a contract or affidavit, you know, between you and her, not going to the courthouse by front of a white man saying that, you know, oh, you gotta raise your right hand to the, nah, fuck that. You just sit down with your woman, you make your own contract. Same thing I tell you.
So again, the bigger issue is,
what's up, brother?
For example, if I have a corporate job and I want to put my wife, or I don't know what you would call it, I guess girlfriend, I don't know what the wife, the contract wife.
Affidavit. Just call it affidavit.
Affidavit. All my benefits, I won't be able to.
Well, here's a scenario to that, brother. You know, if you want to put your girlfriend or your wife, like, you know, a lot of people say that you lay with a woman, she's your wife. Well, I don't know how true that is, but I don't know if you guys want to go based on that. But,
man, that's more religious. I don't agree.
Well, you know,
so that's more religious than anything.
Well, that's you know, that's what the Bible says. You know, it says in the scriptures, but you know, I'm not. That's what they say. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's religion. I'm with you. I don't agree with that either. You know what I'm saying? That's religion.
Right. And brother Dynast, you know, you want to put your girlfriend on your so-called life insurance. That's what you referring to, right?
Health insurance.
No, health insurance.
Health insurance?
Yes.
Oh, life insurance. Cause I'm gonna tell you,
health insurance, you can leave it to whoever you want to. We all know that one.
Health insurance.
Yeah.
Health insurance.
Yeah.
Well, in that scenario, if your wife is working or you working, you know, I mean, it's the same thing. Like me, for example, I'm gonna give you me. I added my woman on my whole life insurance with State Farm.
Yo, Zo, brother, you can add anybody as a benefit
life insurance.
Beneficial.
about
health insurance.
Health insurance.
Now, do you have a plan outside of your job, and you have a separate plan? That's the way you get around that. You know what I'm saying? Is putting that person on your health insurance, you know, and whatnot. So I agree with you about that. I mean, but it's just that, like Brother Prince, like the Prince said, you know, if you're trying to do it through a certain institution, that's something that you're going to have to do. And if when somebody leaves here, the document that you're talking about will come into play to cushion that. You know what I'm saying? As far as leaving assets and stuff. So I agree. I keep telling everybody, I understand. You know, when you're doing a will, you can leave your assets to whoever you want to.
Well, let's just say that here's the bigger obstacle right there. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself by putting money up away, or things of that nature. You know, so that you have to worry about putting your wife on health care or things of that nature, or you just, I mean, why get health care? You know, and you already you invest in yourself. You know, that's what a lot of people do. When people buy land, Americans buy land on things of that nature. Don't go by what the law say. You know, get your own land, build up foundation and things like that. Build your own home, stuff like that. Same way that you have a woman, she get pregnant. Necessarily, the man don't have to sign a birth certificate. You know, because remember, you sign that birth certificate, the children belong to the state. Because anytime
No
Department
disrespect.
Service,
Now we kind of like moving off of the subject of marriage, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's stick with the subject about, the marriage, because it's been going on a while about this, man. Seriously, no disrespect, but it's starting to get kind of old. We going in circles.
Well, to me, you're trying to find a way not to take responsibility for your child, neither your woman who you perhaps may have gotten pregnant, who you may be still living with.
No, you are taking responsibility by investing in yourself. And I tell you, brother Dynast, do not get a marriage license, brother. You know what I'm saying? Do not get a marriage license. It's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because according to the forefathers of America, did they have marriage license?
The who?
If you guys can name them, the forefathers of America, did they have marriage license?
Talking about the presidents. Oh, well, man, I don't believe that they did. I mean, because we got to look at the year where a marriage license was implemented. So of course they did.
It wasn't.
Not during that time.
It was something.
Not during
that time. They didn't have marriage license.
Exactly. I agree.
But they had wives though.
I can't remember what year it was implemented in, but
a lot of it started in England.
And that's another way. I say the whole thing, marriage license did come in play like in the late 1980s, something like that, or around that year period. You know what I mean? So that's another way so the government can tax the Americans. You know what? Let's find another way to get money out of these Americans. So if they want to get married and things of that nature, let's tax them in that way.
Well, like I said, brother, I'm with you on people who, and I keep saying this. I'm not gonna say it no more. No disrespect to you. You know what I'm saying? We cannot make this thing a blanketed statement for I keep saying this time and time again. For those who are not veterans, not in the military, that will work very well for them. In America, those who are in America, I served 20 years in the Marine Corps. I know what I'm talking about. For those who are veterans, that woman will not go nowhere with you unless they have a marriage license. That's all I'm telling you. So if they,
how's that?
What you mean? How's that?
Hold on.
Because the fact you're in the military.
Hold on. Zoe, he's covered this like 20 times, bro. But Zoe, brother, we appreciate you coming on, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace, love, power.
Yeah, I mean, you've already covered that like 20 times.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you, Prince. I appreciate you having mercy on my patience.
Yeah. We covered that 20 times already.
But guys, we look at people of other persuasions and wonder how they getting up and this, that, and the other. A lot of them do marry within their race and they build upon that. The two-family unit, and they gain wealth and they gain stability and they have the atmosphere to raise their children the way that they should. Now, some of them right now may be, kind of thinking kind of differently about some things. But I mean, some of the things that were thrown out there, I mean, they were just elementary. And some of the callers that called in, they should have, in fact, let me go over here.
Yeah,
some of the callers that called in, they don't need to be married. Matter of fact, they don't even need a girlfriend. They need to come to Jesus moment to kind of figure out what's ticking in their head, because they are speaking from a selfish aspect and they don't know what marriage is. And if you don't know what marriage is, you shouldn't be in it. You know what I'm saying? Stay, so you don't want to add to the statistics because you have the wrong mindset. Now you have some women that will try to, you know, understand where they're coming from, might be in a relationship with them for a while, but I'm sure that they'll, after a while, think about, you know what, this dude here, this is not working. You know what I'm saying? And they will move on. But until they get the right mentality of what marriage and family and the Black family and all of that is about, they don't even need to partake because it would be a disaster.
Yeah, you know, and again, this is about, you know, why, and it's a good topic of discussion about why. It's all opinionative. You know what I'm saying? So everybody that's out there listening, you have the right. I want you all to understand, you know, that I am not imposing. I'm not telling you what you have to do, okay? Because that is your choice. As for my queen and I, we chose to do it because we understand the ramifications of us not doing it in my particular situation, and I will not make everybody's situation the same. You know, I would say this: do what makes both of you happy. If both of you come into that agreement that that's what you both want to do, then you go for it and you do that. You know what I'm saying? It's both of your decision to do what you feel like is suitable for you as a couple. Just like my queen and I, we do for us, and we don't pattern our relationship off of nobody else's. We're not saying that ours is a cookie cutter one that you need to base yours off of either. We're just here to say that we can get along as African people, as a couple. We can be successful. We can make this happen as a family unit, you know, and that's what I wanted to solidify on today.
And I also want to say, if you are an individual and you desire to be paper married, legally married, and you're with someone that's not, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You can say, well, you know, I can sway them over and this, that, the other. I mean, if that's where you want to be, you know, now or within the coming years, I wouldn't even waste my time, honestly. If you got 10 years to wait, you know, and you want to waste them, you can go ahead and do that too. But if your desire is to be married, I don't see where you have room to pressure that person that you know that does not want to be paper married. You know what I mean? So make your choices wisely.
Yeah, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close out. Anything you guys like to share in closing?
No.
No, we appreciate what I do. We appreciate
Amari, shout out your platform and everything you're doing, where people can come and follow you. And
okay. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it. So you can follow us. It's Alkebulan, Alkebulan, Unity Alliance. We're on YouTube. We're also on Facebook as well. We also have an Instagram page as well too. It's Alkebulan _Unity _Alliance on Instagram. My queen and I were also serial entrepreneurs. We have a real estate business entitled Synergetic Property LLC. Property Solutions LLC. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Property Solutions LLC. And also we have a networking business entitled Synergetic Network Group LLC as well. We do have an Instagram page for Synergetic Network Group. It's Synergetic NG. All right, Synergetic NG. And we do have a Facebook page for our business as well. It's Synergetic Network Group LLC. And we sell African men's clothing and women accessories. Our business is entitled Alkebulan Lifestyle. And again, that's ALKEBULAN Lifestyle. Okay, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and we have our website. It's www.alkebulanlife.com. Thank you again, Chris, for having us on. We appreciate it.
You know, I got one last question. Miss Amari, the way Mr. Amari is today, right? The Mr. Amari that you have now, if this Mr. Amari would have presented himself to you, we'll say 10 years ago. Well, first of all, how long have you guys been married?
4 years.
Okay, and before that, how long were you guys dating?
We only dated for a few months.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if the Mr. Amari as you see today, right? If this same Mr. Amari would have presented himself to you 10 years ago, would you have been ready to accept and receive this Mr. Amari?
Not at all.
Well, I'm just gonna say that I wasn't ready. And what I mean by that, you know, I had a lot of growing up to do. I had a lot of learning to do. If he had come to me at that particular time, I would not have, you know, been accepting as I was when I met him. I was not ready.
Okay.
She was a Christian.
mindset-
She was a Christian,
My
and that's why I
mindset
said
was
that.
different.
She
you
was,
know,
yeah, she was a Christian, man.
it
So
was
there
totally
was no
different.
way. There's no way she would
a
have.
whole nother life back
Because
then.
I have an ancestor altar. She's been rebuking the devil. Hey.
All right. All right, cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to dynastymir.com, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Absolutely.